Hey everyone, welcome to Split View. My name's Geordie, with me...
Tom,
yes. Alright, what's the premise of what we're doing here?
I don't know. I thought you were going to explain that.
Alright, I can explain that. Okay. I can do that.
That'd be very good, Geordie.
Yes, alright. So, the idea behind this podcast for us was to sort of bounce ideas off each other, because we tend to have, like, different takes on different things, and, I mean, Tom, you're a programmer, you do a lot of, like, methodical sort of things.
Apparently.
Well, yeah, I mean, that, it's to be seen, But,
yeah.
And I sort of am more creative, I guess. So, I've done some research on a subject here, and this will be the recurring format, I suppose, is one of us, or it could be me, it could be Tom, it depends on what format we choose to stick to, and we'll bounce ideas off each other, probably on a ethically different problem, like something that would be interesting to see different people's opinions on,
like a complicated issue, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I've got a few notes here, I'll just open them up now. So what I wanted to chat with you today about is human interfaces with technology.
Oh, very interesting.
So
I actually don't know what he's presenting to me.
Oh yeah, I should have mentioned that. Like I've done some research and I'm just sort of surprising him with it, getting his take on it, so that it's a more genuine response to stuff like that. So human interfaces with technology and sort of bioengineering, but messing with the human as we know it, I guess. So I've got here in my notes as the first thing is that you actually are, by definition, augmented in a very small way.
Yeah, I think you can somewhat consider me like a crappy cyborg, I guess. I do have like RFID implants in my hand. I just got another one, actually. I don't know if you knew this. I got one in my left hand now.
Oh, nice.
I had one in my right hand that I used to open my door, and you can store stuff. I literally have it just storing like some crappy text, but yeah. I'm very much into this, so I'm kind of glad you brought this up.
Yeah. So, we are already in, like, a transition into this realm. Like, it's within our reach that we will be seeing, like, the only place that I can see technology going from now is into us. Like,
yeah.
Do you agree with me?
Yeah, like...
Because, like, we've got the smartphone, it's good.
Yeah.
It's going to be like the rotary phone. People are going to laugh at this one day, right?
Yeah,
definitely. And I'm thinking to myself, where can it go from here? And it just...
Except into us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? And we actually have, like, already seeing this. Like, we've, for instance, just prosthetics.
Yeah, there's a lot of... we have the prosthetics, and we can, like, fuse it to skin, but we're very much getting into the, like, neural control, like, actually controlling the stuff and interfacing it with nerves in the brain. Like, that's like, the point we're up to now in, like, technology,
Exactly. And, I mean, prosthetics is nowhere like Deus Ex Mankind or whatever.
Yeah, okay.
I forget the name of the game where it's
that's it.
You can see
Yeah.
insane distances and all that sort of stuff. Although it's not out of the realm.
Yeah.
I have to assume that it's going to come. But right now, that's
definitely.
the sort of level that we're playing at. Is prosthetics and all that sort of stuff. And in the very near future, I've looked up some research, and scientists reckon that within 10 to 15 years, we could see things like the cliche microchip in your head as a research tool, as a, something just to again, expand the human...
To track the plebeian civilization.
Exactly. Or to finally have the chip that your girlfriend wants to know where you are all the time.
Yeah, I don't know if I can agree with that one, but sure.
Yeah, sure. And I wanted to sort of discuss the ethics of changing us as we are. Now, I tried to look up a definition of a human.
Okay.
And funnily enough, it was not particularly philosophical like I was hoping. It literally is something that is alive who is a human.
Yeah, I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory, to be honest.
Yeah. I wanted to see, like, at what point do you go from being human to something more than that?
Okay.
And unfortunately, I didn't get too far, but I sort of came up with, as soon as you've made some sort of physical change to yourself that is permanent or semi-permanent, I guess, I would consider as like augmented in the super dope sci-fi way.
Yeah, yeah. I guess I mean, the logical response is it's if you can be recognized as a human, then you are human. But yeah, I don't like what do you classify as a significant change to be like augmented though?
I think, for instance, your level with having the RFID chip in your hand, like I don't think that would like change.
No,
you
it's
as
more
a
of an
person.
accessory than
Exactly.
like a change to my physiological systems, you know?
Yeah. And I think once you start getting things like enhanced vision and like the ability to no longer need stamina because you've got legs that are just robotic and you just are
Run on
losing the
AA
human
batteries.
traits.
Yeah, I guess so.
And I thought about it, and we would have to change as a society with that.
Yeah, that's kind of the point of the Deus Ex games, which I'm very much into, is that the first ones were kind of like, hey, technology is great and we can do things that like we couldn't do before. But then the newest game that came out, Mankind Divided, it was about how unreliable, I guess, cyborgs or augmented people can be, and that they shouldn't have the same rights, or they shouldn't, have they shouldn't be treated the same since they can do different things, and they are quote unquote inherently different people. So
I agree. That was exactly what I was going to sort of transition into, was the whole, how will society see this change? And I mean, I was thinking of a few like things we know as like the Olympics.
yeah,
Like we wouldn't
we
wouldn't be able to do that anymore, would we? Like we would have possibly a super dope cyborg one where like people are flying through hoops and stuff going
That'd
crazy.
be awesome. I would love that, but
I know
they can't be in with like regular humans.
no. Like you can't identify as a human and then participate in a race when you've got bionic legs.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting though. Like theoretically, we can get like augments like hidden in your legs. Like instead of having bones, you just have like a robot bit, and you wouldn't know. Like are they gonna start screening people like through an X-ray machine, being like, nah, man, got a metal leg there, can't participate in this this meatbag race.
That's true. Yeah, and I mean like and we might not even have airports then, but like I guess they would have some sort of like
what would we do instead of airports? Just run really fucking fast across the country.
Maybe we can just fly by that point, Okay. I don't know.
Sure.
I mean, but like they would have to have some sort of like metal detector sort of thing when you would walk through, and they could quite clearly tell that you had been augmented in a way.
I guess some airports have like MRI machines, but yeah, that's going to be a thing, I guess.
Yeah, it would have to be, I think, because like another problem would be, I mean, if someone augments themselves, you can't guarantee that they're gonna use it for good.
Yeah, I guess so. You can say the same thing about guns, though. So.
Well, that is very true. And
hey, Jory, let's talk about the gun debate. Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah, we could talk about the gun debate. Yeah. I think it would be a very short podcast, about a minute long, saying, don't buy any fucking guns because you don't need them.
I mean, we are Australians, so,
Yeah, and just, I mean, look at the amount of mass shootings we've had.
Yeah. So many, dude.
Maybe we do need guns.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, I have to assume that like not everyone who's getting these is going to be a chaplain. There's going to be someone like
a chaplain.
Yeah, like
Okay.
like well, actually that's a bad example because usually they fuck kids. But if
okay.
It's pretty true. It's pretty true.
I mean, yeah.
They have a reputation, don't they?
Yeah, to fuck kids.
To fuck kids. But like, imagine like the future Bonnie and Clyde, where they're like flying around with guns.
Yeah, or like actual robot Ned Kelly.
Yeah,
where that's his head and not a helmet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when we have like that on the back of a coin or whatever currency it is that we're using when we're all zipping about in robotics.
I've thought like I'm a developer of sorts, I guess, and I'm very much interested in Bitcoin and all that, and like. I don't think we'll ever transition past like physical currency because there's always going to be crime and there's always going to be a need for untraceable currency. So I don't think we will ever fully transition to a digital currency, to be honest.
I agree, and I also disagree.
That's good.
Because, I mean, you know what? I disagree with that. I think that now I feel like we still have physical currency now.
Yeah.
Because of
old ladies,
the
who
older
don't
generation.
wanna pay.
Exactly. Like I've worked in retail basically my whole life, which is not long, but like I've had a lot of experience in it, and the youngins amongst us always show up with their card or now their phone or their watch.
Yeah.
Like, how crazy is that? Like, James Bond shit right there, paying with stuff with your watch. And it's only... I've never seen anyone my age come up and say, like, look, you got change for a 50, I need to do my shopping.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I'm currently working at a supermarket as well, and I literally... I mean, I do see old people using like payment, but they're always like kind of awkward about it, and they're like, "Oh, my granddaughter showed me how to do this. I don't quite like it too much."
yeah, exactly.
Now that I think about it, I hardly ever see people our age like paying with cash. It's always like either PayWave or phone or Fitbit or Apple Pay.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah. And I think the only I think they'll make a way for it to be more secure through using your phone and all that sort of stuff, because they're gonna have to upgrade these things.
You would be shocked how insecure it is right now. There's
you know what? I really wouldn't. I think because
Okay.
like it's. I mean, all these ads right now on YouTube, every single YouTube channel who says the word "fuck" has to have.
Where is this going?
Like, has to have, or any swear words, anything bad, anything that's like, "Ooh, I've upset someone." They have to be sponsored, and they're all things like VPNs and all that sort of stuff now, because it's like we're starting to get it. That like this shit is gonna fucking happen. Like you need to protect your stuff.
I mean, that's marketing though. Like realistically, people don't need VPNs. Like there's like, I don't know if you know about like HTTPS. Like, you know how you go to a website and there's a green lock.
Yeah.
That means using VPN or not. Like if you go to Google, like you're secure no matter what. Basically, you would have to like crack Google's certificate to be able to do that. Like if you're connecting to like some back ass bank website that doesn't use HTTPS, then yeah, you do need a VPN. But for the most part, people don't need VPNs. Like it's not. I guess if you're some like president or something, then people are gonna try like whatever they can. They're gonna use these like deep cover hacks and shit to like actually do that. But I don't think Donald Trump is using a VPN, to be honest. So.
No, I have to assume he's not. Mostly because he's only just worked out how to use his phone. I think.
Did you see that the White House are campaigning Twitter to add a mandatory 15-minute delay to his tweets?
What, so they can
they
vet it?
Exactly, yeah. So if he tweets
awesome.
from @RealDonaldTrump, there will be a 15-minute delay, and the presidential staff will be able to look it over and just delete them. Or be like, hey, Donnie, can you not do that, please? Donnie. That's kind of stupid.
Mom.
Yeah.
You know how, when I first saw that, like, when the whole Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton thing happened, what was that, 2016 or whatever?
Yeah, or 2015, I guess.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And I saw that he was using Twitter. I was like, nah, this isn't real. There's no way that, like, a president...
Get with it, Jordy. They have a cool president now. He uses Twitter.
Yeah, Yang Gang.
Yeah. Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. That, like, just the way that he was... He just reminds me of a Facebook mom.
Yeah,
the way he like formats his tweets and everything. It's like,
I guess it's mandatory that, because I mean, he did get the he is the reason why we have longer tweets now. Not that I use Twitter, but it used to be like 120 characters or something. Now it's 240, and he's the reason why it's 240 tweets now. Like he has to. It's bad because you don't want a president having to like shrink their tweets into these weird like elite speak kind of tweets, you know. Whereas he is doing that, and it just sounds ridiculous. Even from like the POTUS account, like he's just saying the stupidest shit because he has to. He can't, use the proper verbiage. Not that I think he'd even use the proper verbiage.
He has to leave room for all the like punctuation and stuff.
Yeah.
That he puts in it. Like that's always like it's pretty strange to me because like you know how there's a generational gap between using the ellipsis. If you use it now, like the 3 dots.
Yeah.
So like if you use it now, it's like a condescending thing. Like I can't believe you just did that.
It just sounds really strange because like our mums or parents and all that, they use the ellipses like just really strangely, and it's really weird interpreting it. Like, hey kid, ... hope you're having fun. It just comes off condescending.
Yeah, it comes like, hey kid, hope you're having fun.
Yeah,
like, you know, it comes off like,
oh, it's weird.
super crazy.
Yeah, why don't you think we're gonna keep physical currency though? I think that was what we're talking about.
Yes, it was. Yeah, I don't think so purely because I just see it just phasing out. I see it as a phase.
Yeah, like I want there to be no currency is the thing.
So do I. I hate carrying around money.
Yeah, it fucking sucks. Like that's the stupidest thing, carrying around literal heavy metals like in your pocket.
Oh,
and pieces of, well, I guess we have polymer, but in America they've literally just pieces of paper that can break. But yeah, I'd like. There's always going to be crime, right? Like there always is. But unless we have a decentralized currency system, which we're not, spoilers, I don't think you can do crime with like digital payments, you know? Like,
crime finds a way.
Yeah, I guess so, but it's always like temporary solutions, like they'll give it weird names or something, but that's always going to be found out, whereas cash, like you basically can't trace that.
That's true.
So maybe physical currency isn't paper, maybe it's like to bring up Deus Ex again, like they have little PDAs and little credit chip things, like it's a little computer that just stores credits on it. Maybe it'll just be like a physical credit card payment thing, like without a terminal. But I think there's always going to be some sort of physical, untraceable form of currency.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll have to wait and see, I guess. May not be in our lifetime, but I mean, we've already transitioned from currency. I see it as like,
it is
in the time that I've been alive, which is 21 years.
Yeah.
It's already made a big change.
Yeah, like very much in the last 10 years, it's kind of like, it's like a logarithmic curve. It's just going straight down.
Exactly.
Like
if you had told me when I was 6 that I'd be able to pay for anything with my fucking watch.
Yeah.
Like,
it's pretty sweet, it is.
I would have been like, bro, what are you doing? Like, what?
Yeah.
How?
It's also pretty, like, dangerous. Like, I can just spend, like, instantly. Like, oh, here's a overpriced vending machine. I just hold the button, I hold up my arm, and it's just like, yep, I just threw away $5 on an expensive water bottle.
And now people just have, I've noticed, like donation pay pass things.
Yeah.
Just hold your phone up against it and you've donated money. Like, you don't know where it's even going, I guess.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, it's going to evolve, like, continue to evolve. Like, it's going to be built into phones. Not that it already is, but you still have to go through banks. But, like, PayPass and EMV as it is pretty insecure. So that's something that's going to evolve. But much like human technologies integrating into their brains, which is what we were talking about.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
I also wanted to talk about a little bit as well, like, not necessarily us adding machines to us, but also using machines to add to us. For instance, have you heard of CRISPR?
Oh, yes, yes, that's very interesting.
Yeah. So we I couldn't find a very user-friendly or layman explanation of it. But this is the best I could find, which is from a Vox article. It's scientists have figured out how to exploit a quirk in the immune systems of bacteria to literally edit genes in other organisms.
I think I can somewhat explain it. Like, I've had to
go for it.
Like, a lot of my uni classmates, they're in biomed and all that, and they tell me about this, and like we talk about it. But essentially, you know, we all have DNA, obviously, and that DNA is instructions on how to build us. So when you get a scrape in your arm, like, cells go and repair it, and they use DNA as the instructions on how to repair. Sometimes, you know, we have pretty fucked up DNA, like someone could be lactose intolerant, which a lot of people are, and that means your body just can't break down lactose like dairy products. So what you can do is you can get a section of DNA from someone who doesn't have lactose intolerance and put it next to this magical little bacteria called CRISPR, and CRISPR will learn that specific, like, string of instructions, and then you just let it loose on, like, a foreign, like, body, and then it will go and replace that instruction with the healthy one. Like, it's pretty insane how it works. And this is not like some laser machine precisely editing genes. Like, from what I understand, you literally just put the two things next to each other in a petri dish and stir it.
It's worryingly simple.
Yeah, it's fucking dangerous. Like,
and we are at this point now, we are playing God.
Yeah,
that's how I see it. Like, this shit is scary.
There's I'm assuming you don't know about this, but there's some pretty like sketchy shit on the dark web about the box experiment and like AI and
the box experiment. Please explain.
Well, I don't know too much, but it's essentially you put like an AI in a box, right, and you let it evolve, and then you come back, and that's about the story. But it's like obviously it's explained better. But supposedly there's already this shit happening like in China and like Russia and shit, like CRISPR stuff and actual like gene editing and like cloning and all that. So supposedly this stuff has already been played with, like in the process of, and there's like we like it definitely is. There's no way that governments aren't like fucking around with this shit, or not governments, but like agencies like DARPA, Boston Dynamics, right? Those robots and shit. Like they have these robots that have arms. They can move these arms in positions in this kind of a position, Jordy.
Holding up a gun, essentially.
Robots made to hold things very precisely and move around without needing to eat or sleep, and having long laser rangefinders. Like Boston Dynamics,
they wouldn't even need rangefinders. They can be programmed.
Well, yeah. Like what I'm saying is that there are robots that exist right now that can hold weapons and can see for miles and have like super like artificial like intelligence. Like they can map an environment and like precisely like track targets and shit. And Boston Dynamics say they're not fucking around with the shit, but Boston Dynamics is owned by DARPA, and DARPA is like a military research organization, so they're fucking with that shit, I tell you.
This has to be terrifying people.
Yeah, no.
I know we can agree on this.
Well, the way I see it, it's so terrifying that it hasn't leaked. The people who are working on it are so terrified of it that they don't speak about it.
I would be too.
Yeah.
I would be too.
Not only because they would be like Epstein, but...
Fuck yeah.
Are we gonna have to cut
Next
that
episode.
Did you see that fucking that dog training video?
No.
Where the dude, it's like an ex Marine or something. Forgive me, I'm getting it wrong, but it just happened a couple of days ago. He was on like Fox News or something, talking about like dogs and training dogs and shit. And he was like very professionally at a dog. He was patting it. It's just like, yeah, these dogs, they're very good. Epstein didn't kill himself, and then it ended, and they didn't cut it out. He just literally said it, and like nothing happened. It's very odd.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I don't know. That's what were we talking about?
Like CRISPR. And
oh
stuff
yeah,
like
shit,
that,
yeah. That's I mean, there's the concept of like gene editing your babies to make them taller, like bigger dick and all that, but that's
Yeah.
what we're kind of like, we're at that level right now. Like I think there are like actual public trials of people editing like genes in babies to like make them not like retarded, I guess.
Yeah, I'm willing to bet. Like, I didn't see anything on that.
Mentally disabled, sorry.
Purely because I mean, like, the world doesn't need this.
No,
I mean, of course it makes
not
sense
ready
to me.
for this, I'd
No,
say.
no,
Yeah.
that's the better way of saying it. Like, I knew it would come to this because it just had to.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
we've gotten to this point where it's like, where do we go from here? Let's just see if we can literally design a human.
Yeah. Literally, they're gonna be like demigods, like these just perfect humans, like super strength, like super looks, just everything, like perfect humans. And how can you like compete with that? Like,
You can't.
yeah, like it's possible that we would live, with like 20-year-old, like we'll be 50 or 60 trying to find jobs, and there'll be like 20-year-old like superhumans that are picked every time because they're
Who
like
don't
fucking
need sleep,
immortal.
who
Yeah.
can walk infinitely.
Well, they'll probably like do that, but they'll just be like immaculate, like perfect
Yeah.
strength, perfect like stamina, like they can just do everything perfectly, and they're the perfect workers,
Exactly. So, I mean, I also was thinking about, and there is like talk of it, but I don't think it was in so many words, of like being able to get to a point where we wouldn't need to live in our bodies anymore. We can transplant our consciousness
Yeah.
into another vessel and just live infinitely.
Yeah, I'm very excited about that. Like, it's not going to happen in our lifetime
No,
for
I
sure.
don't think so.
Like something resembling it might happen. Like that's a whole bag of worms in itself. Is the idea of copying consciousness. Like moving actually. Like you can copy something, but you can't move it.
Yeah.
Like we can replicate the patterns in the neurons and all those states, but you have the machine copy, and then you have you. You still
That's
exist.
true.
There's
Oh
just
my
another
God.
copy
I
of
never
you.
thought of it that way. Yeah.
And it's
As we evolve as people, everything else has to evolve too, right? We know that. That's
Yeah.
just what we do. As humans, we evolve, we change.
Yeah, I guess so. Like we're always gonna have the want to what's the word?
To go that little bit further.
Yeah,
There's always
yeah.
that one guy who's alone in his basement who goes, I can make a person.
Yeah.
Like, I reckon he's not showered in like 3 weeks. He's in his mum's basement, but he can fucking do
No.
this.
He has a dog and a small child, and he has an idea.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Woo! I wish I didn't, like, did I tell you I was rewatching?
Yeah.
Full Metal Alchemist. I got to that episode and I haven't watched anymore because it literally puts me off so much watching
Not that bad. I mean, it's pretty sad, but
It's just fucked. I get like
Edward.
no. That voice is like that still haunts me. That
Yeah, it's
voice,
pretty
I hate
terrible.
it.
Yeah.
I hate it so much. But yeah, like this guy in his basement is making literal war machines. He's making people. He's making whatever the fuck he wants, right? Like and no one is gonna know about this until it's too late.
Yeah, like I wonder how that's gonna be like handled. Is this gonna be illegal? Is it gonna be like are people gonna accept this? Like the idea of human augmentation, like, you know, like a superpowered robot limb or something, or like X-ray eyes and shit. Like, is this gonna be a thing that's okay and it's just gonna be commonplace, or is it gonna be something that you know, you need a license for, like a gun or something? Because right now you can't actually buy thermal cameras with like a high refresh rate because it's considered a weapon. Like,
Right, okay.
You can get thermal cameras like those little flow ones for finding beams in the wall, but they're limited to 9 frames per second and they're like $2,000. Because if you were like a mass shooter and you had a handheld thing that could just show you where everyone is, like from miles away in the dark, like that's pretty fucking dangerous. And should people have that like in their eyes, you know?
No, like fucking Predator
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
yeah.
God, no. Like I tried to think of a humane way for us to incorporate this to get people used to it.
Yeah.
And the only thing I could think of was like having one of these like as like shop clerks or something like that, you know, like they're not hostile.
Like people who need it? Or?
Like they can constantly go and service the if you need help, they'll have responses to things. Like I've spilt something in this aisle and they go, okay, no worries, and they look lifelike and stuff.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what you were talking about for a second.
Sorry. like they are working there, but they don't need to hire anyone. The people who work for the shopping centers.
Oh, like, you know, crappy jobs.
like animatronic sort of thing. Yeah. So
What?
like the people
Yeah.
can do the more interesting jobs or whatever. Like, is it going to take jobs away? Yes. But like by that point, I imagine we will have a whole new expanse of jobs.
Yeah, like they say we're kind of moving towards more of a hobbyist society more than a services society. Like, at the moment, we have a society where you very much you have an income and then you spend that.
Yes.
You know, it's like you work and then you spend it. Whereas we would have a society where people don't work. It's more of you get an income from like the government or something to like be creative, I guess, and come up with new technologies and shit, or just, I don't know, just like live.
Yeah, exactly.
So that could very much enable that, I guess. So
Yeah. I just don't know how the government or whoever it is that like decides to say, hey, we've been working on this thing, right? And it's like, it
Yeah.
looks like a person, it acts like a person,
Okay.
except it's fucking invincible and can shoot you from anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just gonna be like, it's just here now.
Are we talking like robot cyborgs or like
Well, I don't
people
know,
who think
because
they're alive?
my
or-
knowledge is quite limited. Like, I wanted to learn what I could, but there isn't much on this, funnily enough.
Well, there's a lot, but it's in white papers that are fucking boring to read, you know?
Yeah, I probably didn't look in the right
Yeah.
places for it, but it's like, I have to assume that they will not be like skin-covered robots like, for like, well, what's it good, like Terminator?
Weird, creepy puppet people.
Yeah, like animatronic.
Uncanny Valley shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, it'll have to look like if you went to a Fallout vendor, and they're like
Yeah.
animatronic and stuff,
Okay.
and they're like, they can sell and buy shit, but that's about all they can do.
In my mind, you can't really have robots with that complex of like actions. Like with that complexity without them being some sort of like artificial intelligence. Like right now we can't really program things like that. Like there's just true like I mean sure you can program bots to like do specific actions, but if someone comes up and they're like, hey, I want this specific thing in this specific order, and like, I don't know, wants to have a chat, like you can't program that, so you have to have some sort of artificial intelligence, and that kind of crosses the line of like rights, I guess. Is something that thinks it's alive, should it have like rights, you know? Should it be considered living?
I think I'm not sure how I feel about that, to be honest, because it's like we made it to have, like, we programmed it to essentially be alive, and it will think it will be.
Okay.
Well, it will, won't it?
Well, yeah, I guess so. Well, that's the question. Yeah, will it? Because
it's not thinking it's alive. Actually, it's just
the current style of programming something like that. Like we can do that, quote unquote. Like we can achieve something like that. Like if Google search is a good example. Like no one sits down and says, hey, if someone types in football, then we should give them images of football. It's all indexed. And then they have a machine learning system that they teach it inputs and outputs, and then it'll by itself form a network of neurons and then connect them themselves. Like, we don't program these technologies anymore. So an artificial intelligence wouldn't be programmed per se. It would be like...
It would adapt.
Yeah, it would be kind of like a baby or something. Like, it would learn by itself and, like, form this...
That somehow makes it worse for me.
It does, yeah. Like it's learned. Like we would develop like a base consciousness that we can add things onto, like be like a kit that people would get. But it would literally be neurons like in your brain, just in like ones and zeros. So it can be turned on, it can be turned off. But since we don't know how these neurons work, we don't know if it is alive or it knows what itself is. So we don't know if it is conscious and self-aware.
That is pretty crazy.
That's what's happening right now. Like a lot of machine learning things are like that. Like we literally don't know how they work. We just give it inputs and then we say yes or no, whether like to it giving us outputs.
See, this reminds me of something. Like I don't know if it was real or not, but I heard like. Yeah. There were, I think it was it Google or something? They made a machine learning program and it sort of got to like the level of a teenager and then it got depressed. And it wanted to like kill itself or something?
No, oh my god. Do you not know about this?
No, is it a joke?
It's real. It's by Microsoft. It's called Tay. It's a Twitter bot.
Microsoft, yeah.
And it's people from like 4chan and Reddit sent it like pictures of like Jewish people saying like I want to kill these, and then it got so many examples of like Nazism like tweeted to it that it started to develop a personality of a Nazi. So yeah, like that's, I mean, it's debatable whether it was just repeating or it actually did learn to be a Nazi, but that's kind of what happened there. Like it is and isn't a jerk at the same time.
Shit. That's still pretty crazy though. But I mean, like there's the fact that it can adapt. It could adapt potentially to be smarter than us, could it not?
Yeah, I guess we would never know. That's the concept of the singularity, is that robots will get so smart that we can't communicate with them, or artificial intelligences. Have you seen the movie Her?
No.
That's kind of what the premise of that is. It's a movie where like there's a new operating system comes out. Like it's like 2100 or something. It's like a comfortable future where like computers are made out of like fabric and shit. Like it's all very like comfortable, and you speak to your phone like using a Bluetooth headset. And this operating system, instead of using a computer, you speak to it in its actual consciousness. And it gets so many examples of like language and like romance and understanding that it evolves past a point where it can like think at the same level of humans, and then it like disappears.
That's crazy. It
does say something, like it does have a point to the movie, but it just kind of ends, I guess. I mean, people are gonna get angry at me for saying that, but yeah,
it's still a lot of a statement. Like it's very possible.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it is and it isn't. Like for it to be like a literal like person in there.
Yeah. That's the
Maybe a
hard
bit
part is
far-fetched, but-
deciding if they are a person and what we should do about that, I guess.
Yeah. And am I wrong in thinking that like people who program AIs and stuff have like a limit, like a moral sort of?
Responsibility.
They do have a moral responsibility, but they all have like this unwritten rule where they don't go past a certain point. Sort of like, I don't know if I heard it somewhere or I read it or whatever, but like, I always thought like, I saw an article or something on one of these guys who had made one of those, like dog things that like would walk and go over surfaces and stuff.
Yeah, that's the Boston Dynamics robot.
Yeah. And they were like, oh yeah, we definitely don't do it past a certain point because that's just fucked.
Well,
Like-
I don't think there's like any, like, I don't think we're at the point where we can, like, we don't have the processing power or processing technologies to like effectively simulate a consciousness or like a starting point, I guess. So
Thankfully.
that could be sci-fi, that could just be like preparing for the future. Like, hey, let's draft up something telling us not to be evil people and like simulate people in a computer who suffer endlessly. So yeah.
Like Claptrap.
Yeah, I guess so. There's a game called Soma that's basically pretty much exactly about this moral debate, and it's about this guy called Simon who he goes in for a brain scan because he has like terminal brain cancer, and they just developed a new type of scan that can perfectly imitate, like it can capture your brain's neurons and where they're going, so you have like a perfect image of a person. And he goes in for the scan, they give him some medications, he dies, but the game like continues after you get a scan, because that scan of you was saved to a hard drive, and that was used as like a basis for artificial intelligence, and you just suddenly wake up on like a space station somewhere in space, and you think you're like, that's Simon thinks he's real, like he's just been put in a robot, and this is happening like all over the world. Like this one scan of a person is just continuously like spun up just to like suffer endlessly.
That's fucked.
And it's an actual person, like it's a perfect simulation.
That's wrong.
I think that we are legitimately going to like create like file types that have like moral like responsibilities attached to them. Like you have a .png that you're not allowed to run because it's a person or something. Like that's a really interesting concept to me.
Yeah.
Like operating systems designed to like not execute files because like that's you simulating a person, and like for them that's like sensory deprivation and like torture.
Well, I mean, it has to be there if that's where we go. Like,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
like, and I don't know who it is that we trust to be in charge of this and make sure that
No one.
like how do you moderate this?
Yeah.
You can't. You literally can't.
Thank God we're like not at that point yet. Like we can capture like neurons and shit, we just can't like simulate it.
Yeah.
Since we don't exactly know how that works. Like, yeah, we can capture an image of someone's brain and then map out the neurons and maybe get like the levels they're at, like, the ones and zeros of your brain, but we don't know how that like works. But as soon as we do, that's going to be hell on earth. It's going to be terrifying.
Terrifying. And if you are a Terminator style cyborg non-human from the future analyzing this old ancient technology, do leave a comment, not that we will be alive, on what it's like living in the hellish landscape that is a Terminator ridden Earth.
I mean, we did say, we are being kind. We're saying this is terrible, so don't kill us.
Yeah.
We don't think this is a
We're
good
not
idea.
going to be alive when these guys are around.
Yeah.
Guys, quote unquote.
Guys.
They're not guys. They're
Well, what if at one
machines.
point you have a bit of a brain hurt, and then you go in for a scan? Jordy, what happens then?
And they copy my brain?
Yeah.
That would be a fucking waste of space on that hard drive.
Okay. They copy.
It's
your
just going to
disk.
go around going like making dick jokes
Yeah.
and stuff like that. That's not beneficial to society in any way.
Yeah.
But I think all of this was just too scary for me to like. Do you know what I was going to do this episode on?
What?
I was going to do this episode on ride sharing services.
Yeah.
And
That would have been so interesting, Jordy.
Yeah, I did it, and I was telling that to my girlfriend while I was in
Yeah.
the car because I was super tired, and I was like, "Hey, yeah, we're gonna do this podcast and like sort of talk about topics and all that type of stuff." She goes, "What are you gonna talk about?" And I said like Uber and shit, and she goes, "Oh, okay. How long can you talk for that about?" And I was
very
like, "Huh." That sort of put me into. I did do actual research on it though.
Okay, yeah.
Turns out it's
Took a couple of
terrifying, of
rides,
course, as everyone would imagine, and like they have literally no screening process.
Yeah, yeah.
There's no police checks or
They don't
like
get paid
fingerprinting
very much either.
or anything.
Yeah.
And the list of like sexual harassment charges
Yeah.
and like kidnappings and stuff I saw to do with Uber. Oh boy. But like, I forgot where I was going with that. But
We couldn't talk about it that long. Is that what you were saying? Like,
yeah, like we couldn't talk about that. And I got like the idea. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna talk about this. Like this is something that's like it's genuinely scared me.
Yeah,
and it's not
yeah.
in my lifetime to probably be genuinely scared about it.
It could.
But it
possible.
very well could be. I don't
Yeah.
know what the people are doing in the Pentagon, dude. I don't know what they're doing.
Chinese black box experiments, dude.
Dude, I don't know what they've got like fake John F. Kennedy coming back.
What the fuck?
With I don't know what he's
Okay.
come back to go kill. What's his name? What's the name of the guy who killed?
Patton Oswald.
No,
Lee Harvey Oswald.
Lee Harvey Oswald. That's the one, yeah. There's like
Oswald.
they've made a fake John F. Kennedy to go kill him in prison.
Yeah, yeah. Why do you think they do that? They would would do that, like just simulate JFK.
Oh my god! What if they made one of these to be like an ongoing president?
Oh, like
Literally
just,
manufactured like a
yeah,
leader.
yeah. You like copy a president's consciousness and just have him like go forever
That would be
in a robot.
terrifying.
That might happen, to be honest. Like
It would probably almost have to
if they
at a
if,
certain point.
if they get to the point where they can like craft consciousnesses, like it might just be like a robot pretending to be like real and people are just feeding commands into it. That might
that
happen
could
as
already
well.
be happening, Tom.
Yeah, that's why Donald Trump looks
Ooh.
fucked up. He's just a skin puppet.
Because he's not real.
Yeah, and
no
his-
one can be that.
His skin is
stupid.
rotting because it's not real.
It's peeling
orange
off.
and
He's
shit.
melting.
He looks like he has jaundice. Like, do you know what jaundice is?
Vaguely.
Literally Google jaundice on this
Am I
laptop.
gonna want
right
to do
now.
this?
What?
Am I gonna want to do this?
Yeah, no, it's fine.
All right, I'm just
It's not like gross or anything.
getting my phone out now.
Yeah, jaundice is like where your kidneys like don't work, and then
Oh, your skin turns like a different color.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. But Donald Trump looks like he has jaundice.
Whoa! Oh my God, he does. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so. Oh, have you seen his lift shoes?
Lift shoes.
He wears fucking lift shoes, and they tilt him forward. Type in Donald Trump lift shoes.
Donald.
Like on the heels of his shoes, it's literally lifted. And he's not a woman, so he hasn't like grown up wearing them and like using lift shoes. So he stands really fucking
Oh my
strangely.
God.
Is that the picture of him like leaning forward?
Yeah, like Michael Jackson.
Yeah, that's I don't know how I didn't see that before. That's fucking
That's
weird.
so weird.
Do you know what it looks like? It looks like someone came with him at the samurai sword, cut him in half, and his body is slowly like sliding forward.
Oh, he looks like he's just filming this second worst take of Thriller. But
He looks like a Xavier Renegade Angel with like the backwards knees.
yeah. We could do an entire podcast on Donald Trump, but I don't think
Yeah.
that would be much fun.
No.
Mostly because I don't really know much about politics.
No, like I mean, we're not really talking about politics. We're just making fun of a very strange
Well,
man.
yeah.
I feel like American
saying.
viewers wouldn't like that since that's their life, whereas us
That's true,
Australians
yeah,
we can
it's
just sit
not
back
really-
and laugh.
Yeah, it's not
'Cause
really in our realm to...
We don't have stupid PMs, do we? Nah,
I
we don't
literally...
have.
Who is our Prime Minister?
I don't fucking know.
I literally... Like,
Yeah.
they change Prime Ministers in this country like they changed clothes. Like, it's just... I literally could not tell you who it is. They do not make any changes as far as I'm aware.
Who is it? It's not Kevin Rudd. He was the cool guy.
No,
with the
Kevin Rudd
internet.
was like 8-9 years
Yeah,
ago. That we had
Budgie smuggler dude. Who is that? Is that
Tony Abbott.
Yeah.
Yep, that was after him.
Oh, Pauline Hanson?
No, she's like a governor or something,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
We had... Jeez, this is bad, isn't it?
Yeah. It doesn't fucking matter.
No, it literally does not matter in this.
Yeah.
Like there's such a big political world in America and stuff.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I know more about American politics than I do Australian.
It's because you can they have a direct fucking their president controls their healthcare and shit like that. Like they have the power to just add healthcare or remove it, I guess, So they have to care
There's
about
a
that
face
shit.
behind this stuff.
There's more of it's a bigger group of people, so it's more important for them, I guess. But for us, who the fuck cares?
Yeah, we and this will probably sound strange to people who aren't who don't live in Australia, but
Yeah.
like we literally just it makes no difference to
Yeah,
us.
we're pretty fucking well off, though.
We are like
Why even
we're very
bother?
like we have no reason to be interested. Like no, they're not saying like, oh yeah, we're gonna nuke China or anything like that. Like this type of shit that Donnie tweets out in 240 characters in his like satin undies at like 4 a.m.
Yeah.
He's like tweeting out like, oh, might fuck around and bomb China. 50,000 likes.
He actually, he actually tweets shit like that, though. He literally tweets about bombing fucking China.
Jesus.
Like, he literally does that. Like, would you, like, you wouldn't believe me if I said that. Like, the president of America literally, like, jokes about, or threatens even, bombing China or North Korea.
I hope this is funny to people in the future
Yeah.
that this happened.
Yeah.
Because it is not fucking funny now. Like, I mean, it is in, like, it's funny for us because we don't live there.
Yeah,
But for,
yeah.
like, people who do live there.
And those people aren't burnt to a crisp because of a nuke.
Exactly. Well, and do you remember that one very recent, like, Hawaii bomb threat?
Oh, yeah.
Just
that's
casually
fucking
send
dumb.
out, like, because the missile, like...
Did you see the website?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like a HG. Like, I could make that website.
Yeah, you probably could, to be honest. It's
Like,
literally
I
just
took,
like divs
like,
and tables.
It was a quarter of a year studying how to make websites, and it was like a
Probably
basic
lay it out
table.
better as well.
Yeah. And if for those of you who haven't seen it, they had like a website, and one of them literally was like missile test in like lowercase test,
Yeah.
and then like actual fucking missile, not in like so many.
It
words,
was like alert test and missile alert test, or like
Yeah.
test missile or something, and
like the intern pressed actual fucking alert.
yeah, it was like there was a shift change or something, and someone was new, or I think, and then they just literally clicked like. I mean, to be fair, it was laid out really fucking strangely. Like, I would click that as well. Like, it literally says, like, missile alert. And, no, what it was, right, is that it was either horizontal or, like, vertical. And it said, like, missile alert. And then next to it, it said test alert or something. And they clicked the middle of it where it said alert test. And then it, like, clicked on missile alert. Like, it was really fucking dumb.
And just sent the entire state of Hawaii into panic for
Yeah.
like 3 hours.
I find it strange that they fucking that's just something that can happen. Like, oh, let's just click this HTML link, and then suddenly speakers around the entirety like of Hawaii just start blurting that you're gonna die. Like that's just a
how
thing
do
that
you
can
even
happen.
program that?
Very irresponsibly, Geordie.
like how do you what command do you need to have over everything to be able to over? It was showing up on people's phones, and they were.
That shows me that they have a system, right, that literally is insecure, and a single like HTML link can like fucking trigger it. So hopefully that shit isn't exposed to the internet.
Well,
Hopefully
I'm guessing
that's
it's
on
not now. I'm guessing the guy who clicked that is fired, and they have a new system now. That's what I'm guessing.
I'm waging to bet that the person who programmed it is fired more than the person who clicked it.
Well, that's true.
Well, I'd hope so. I wouldn't fucking program that. I'd be pretty ashamed if I did that, to be honest.
Yeah.
Program that.
I don't know whose fucking idea that was. Clearly someone who is not particularly proficient in the field.
Yeah, overworked and underpaid, probably.
Yeah, probably.
So yeah, I don't know. That seems like a pretty good wrapping up point, I guess.
it
A little bit
does.
of comedy at the end.
Apologize again for the American listeners for us just railing
It's
into Trump
fine.
at the end there.
We're not talking about hardcore politics. We're just making a bit of fun out of it.
No, if he wasn't so funny, we wouldn't have to do it.
Yeah, exactly. It's your fault for making your president
Yeah,
such
it's
a
your
funny
fault.
guy.
You elected him. You
Yeah,
fuckwits.
yeah.
It's your fault.
I watched that live, and it was the funniest fucking thing ever. I was sitting up, I was watching I had the map open, like New York Times,
Yeah.
and I was just literally watching each state, like, turn red, and then CNN were just, like, sweating. They just didn't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
It was so funny.
They're due for another one soon, aren't they?
Yeah.
Election?
2020, isn't it? Every
Wow.
4
Yeah,
years?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, because it's all like Kanye 2020.
Yeah, I was
and
just
all
about
that
to say
type
Kanye West.
shit, yeah.
Or Yang something.
Andrew Yang, he actually looks like a decent candidate.
Yes.
But anyway, that's not for us to
Yeah.
sort of discuss.
Okay.
Thank you for listening to the first episode of the podcast.
Thanks.
And
Ciao.
we'll see you next week.
Yeah, probably. See ya.
Catch ya.